Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Come on, come on, come on. How you want it, cognac or Patron? Brunch with the boys, we gon' give you what you want. And what you don't know, we about to put you on. Yes, we are the trending topic. We relationship prophets. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest. Brunch with the boys, we the hottest.
What's going on? It's your boy King Jazz here. Another episode of Brunch with the Boys. If I giggle a little too much tonight, it's because I'm feeling right. So I appreciate y'all working with me. We got a special guest tonight, but first, how we doing, gentlemen?
Jeez, what's good, everybody? We in here.
What's up?
Really? This nigga put a little bit of Prince at the end, so no need for that.
What that was.
Let's talk about our special guest. Gent, special guest?
So I'm gonna allow her to introduce herself, but she's from the Unfuckery Podcast.
Yeah.
But let me introduce myself. Your name is Hove? No.
I'm Nikita. I'm the host of the Unexpected Fuckery of 40 podcast.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you Jamaican by any chance?
I am not. Do I look Jamaican?
No, Jamaicans love the word fuckery, so I just...
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, beer fuckery.
Beer fuckery.
Yeah, it's a Jamaican term.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
So the Unexpected Fuckery of 40 is a podcast about all the challenges, the ups and downs that we go through once we hit 40. So, in your 20s and 30s, you really think that by the time you're 40, that life is just going to be easy peasy. Just, the shit is going to be great. Yeah. And then, in my 40, when I hit 40, I just had all these things happen that I just didn't expect. I was working this high-paying job. I quit without another job just due to stress and mental health. And I'm a single mom. I'm 41 with a 4-year-old. Never been married. And so life just did not go how I thought it would go when I was in my 20s and 30s. Once I hit 40. So it's some fuck shit. It's just some fuckery, like dating in your 40s is some fuckery. Yeah. It's a lot of challenges. There are a lot of great things too. So I talk about all, things on my podcast: sex, relationships, the workplace, corporate America, all those different types of things. So it's just a podcast about everything about being in your 40s.
Yeah.
I love it. Y'all check her out.
Absolutely. Very, very good listen. So what we getting to tonight, fellas?
So we're talking about unaffectionate partners and the importance of affection in your relationship. I'm sure we all know what affection is, but not getting affection is a big problem in relationships. And, there are a lot of people who simply just aren't comfortable giving it. You know what I mean? So we want to dive right into it. And the first thing I want to touch are reasons that your partner isn't showing you affection that have nothing to do with you. Go ahead.
I think the first thing we have to do, and I don't know if anybody has quick computer access, I think it's important for us to define what affection is.
Affection, I know what unaffectionate means: not giving or reciprocating affection. And affection can be classified in many ways because it depends on you, the person, as far as how you receive that affection. But it's basically receiving care and feeling that vibe of care. You know what I mean? Because, and we're going to go into it a little bit more. Sometimes some people take affection as physical touch. Other people take affection as washing my car, bitch. You know what I'm saying? So it really depends on where you're coming from.
Well, so the definition of affection is devotion, a fond attachment, love. It's also a gentle feeling or fondness or liking. So it's a emotion, a feeling, sentiment. And over and above reason is kind of the realm where affection lies.
Yeah, that's deep. That's deep. You know what I'm saying?
So now Jezzy got that question for us, man.
So some of the reasons why your partner may not be showing you the affection, you need to know it may not always be about you, and one of the first reasons that came up was anxiety issues. Sometimes if your partner is experiencing any anxiety, they're hyper focused on an internal or external threat, so much so that they can't even focus on your needs and focus on giving you the affection that you need. So I just want to attack it from that perspective first. Like everyone that's if your partner's being unaffectionate towards you, it's not always because of you. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'm probably not the best person to answer this. I don't have a lot of experience with anxiety, so I don't know that I have a perspective on it. But yeah, I don't know that I have a perspective on it.
For me, anxiety can play a role. I mean, the premise of anxiety is going to essentially put you in a place where you're going to be easily irritated and somewhat irrational. It's a weird space, man, but it's one of those things where I feel like it can be controlled by medication, right? And so you have some ability to ensure that it doesn't affect your relationship. But the understanding of it can push people away, because if you have tremendous amount of anxiety and you're irritable, all that's going to do is have an adverse impact on the person that you're dealing with day in, day out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I don't want to get too much into the anxiety thing because that mental health stuff is real. I think we all experience anxiety on some level, whether it be minimalized for more than others. But what I want to ask Nikita is this: have you ever been in a relationship where you need more affection than he is used to, or he wants more than you're willing to give? Have you ever been in a situation where that balance was lacking?
I have. I would say my last, maybe not my last relationship, but the guy before that, he wasn't as affectionate as I needed him to be. And he was loving and everything, but, and we were close, but I like to tongue kiss, and I like to, if we're talking about physical touch, I like all of that stuff. Like kissing to me is the most intimate thing that you can do outside of like penetration and everything. So he really was just like a pecker, like what, and I really needed that closeness and he didn't give it, but I don't really think, I just came to accept that. It didn't really, hinder the relationship moving forward. I just realized that that's just who he was. I mean, he shared his thoughts with me. We were very close in other ways, emotionally and mentally. And so, I just didn't get that physical affection that I was looking for all the time. But now it's something that is a requirement. For me, so.
I found that people who aren't affectionate, it tends to come down to their environment. A lot of people aren't comfortable being affectionate in public, where they prefer that type of intimacy in private. Des, you talk to that. Are you a nigga that enjoys PDA? Because I just can't see your big ass holding hands and tongue kissing in public. You know what I'm saying? But is that something that you do? Are you with PDA?
I think it depends on the person, right? Because I think that probably wouldn't be my natural proclivity, but I think you guys have seen me in situations where it's been exactly that. You know what I mean? Different activities you've had together in our past, you've seen that from me. You know what I mean? So clearly I'm capable of it and I have no problem with it. I think there's certain people that bring certain behaviors out of you, right?
I was just going to say that.
That's probably my perspective on it.
Like for me, like I hate hand holding. It's like the worst thing for me. Hand holding is creepy as shit to me. And I'm good with PDA. No, don't hold my hand.
I don't know what just happened there, but I'm glad I'm not there. That's some bullshit. I don't know what happened. Listen, don't let us have to call Andrew over there, Dad.
God, oh, there you go.
That's tough. That's tough. But too soon?
It was too soon, bro.
A little too soon.
No, but like PDA in general, like I don't mind tongue kissing you, slapping your ass, holding you.
All the shit he want to do.
Right. And she's not doing any of it.
Turning and shit. I don't mind turning the
nipple twisting
and pussy lip.
What do you view as affection, Dad? What do you consider to be affection? How do you receive it yourself?
I like simple touches, man. I like the petting.
Well, you just said what you want, nigga. Nipple piercings and all that. I want Dez. I want a regular nigga's opinion.
Oh, okay. You want a regular nigga?
Okay, nigga. I like unsolicited massages.
You like what?
unsolicited massages, meaning like
when they just started out of nowhere.
Ask you, like, yo, you look tired, man. Get like, let me get your shoulders relaxed.
That's nice.
You know what I'm saying?
That.
Rubbing your neck, fingers, something simple like that. I don't need material things. I also like when they lick right under my nuts. Too.
Whoa!
Is that affectionate? Is that affection? Well, I love that. Sounds like the type of affection I need right there.
That sounds like a kink. Hold up, wait.
I think that's a baseline. That's them table stakes.
If I'm to be 100% honest, for me, any affection can be many things: kissing, holding hands, cuddling, etc. I hope 9 out of 10 times my affection leads to some pussy, to a nut. You know what I mean? I gotta be honest. Like, in a perfect world, yes, let's cuddle for an hour or two and watch this movie. But when them credits come on, I hope your head drop into my damn stomach. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
like, I just, and I don't want to make it seem like, it's a means to an end, but hell, in a way it is. I think affection and intimacy jumpstart the sex, and they all tie together for me,
Sometimes I like being the little spoon in the spooning.
You like to be held? You like a chick to hold your big ass?
Are you surprised, nigga? Really though?
I just don't know how that's gonna be. Are you all in a little ball and shit?
You act like you surprised? Oh no, not Gent. Really? Whoa! No,
you right,
I'm not into cuddling. I don't like to cuddle. Like at night when it's time to go to sleep, you go to your side of the bed after sex, and I stay on my side.
When it's sleep time,
with somebody right there.
I don't need to cuddle. Yeah. When it's time to get the business, I don't need.
But a little pre-game before going to sleep, you don't like that?
Hell no.
So is cuddling, Rob? Is cuddling, Gent, a preface to the pussy? Is this just a setup? You really just low key trying to get your dick in?
Well, when you the little spoon, it can't be as a man. But when you the big spoon, and she feel that thing, that doorknob knocking on the back end, yeah, that could turn into something, man.
I think affection. I think affection is different from sexual activity. I think. Yeah, they're related in the same way that trust is related to sexual activity, right?
Yeah.
But trust can be completely independent of sexual activity. So I think they're two different things, because I think you can be affectionate with someone and not be sexual with someone. And I think Nikita talked about this, that she was in a relationship with a person that's caring, right? But sexually, he may not have been into some of the things that she was in. Or maybe I read too much into that. But regardless, I think that's a possibility,
I agree.
No, affectionate is definitely the baseline, man. I think that level of intimacy is where connectivity happens. I think that's where growth happens. I think that's where you also foster in trust. It's that security level. It's a number of things that happen within that space that has nothing to do with sex. Mm-hmm. It's feeling vulnerable. It's being okay with feeling that way, and also it's a place of just safety a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, Nikita. Do you think you can be in a healthy relationship with a lack of affection?
No, not where I am right now. I don't think that I can be. Like,
even if you know that nigga love you?
Even if I know he loves me, no, I can't do it. I need you to show me. Like, I need, little, like Gent was saying, it doesn't have to be physical, but I need you to send me flowers. I need you, to me, I think from a woman's perspective, we can also look at chivalry, like how chivalrous a man is as a way of showing affection. So I need you to do little sweet things for me and to me at where I am right now. When I was younger, maybe I wasn't so much on that, but at 41, for sure, I can't.
That's my go-to. Chivalry, acts of service, absolutely. Yeah. It's
the
way.
Love language.
Listen, I think how a person treats you and their commitment and dedication to you should be fundamental, man. Like, here's the thing: chivalry. We gotta understand, man. Human beings are very, very complex creatures, and you can be a bunch of things. Mm-hmm. He can be chivalrous and a dog
and an asshole.
True.
Yeah.
So my point is that
I can attest to that.
Chivalry with being a good man, right? Because chivalry can also be a tool for fuckery, right? Because if I use it right, I can keep all these bitches on my hook.
It could be used as manipulation, but anything.
Absolutely.
I would like to confirm for Dez that works. That works. Chivalry definitely gets. I mean, let's just keep it real. Most niggas don't, they aren't really exercising that characteristic. And when it's amazing how you can go on a date and open a door for a chick, and she like, damn, you opening doors and shit. She joked it off, but bitch, ain't nobody opened her door in 7 years, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Her own kids won't open the door for her. So it really mattered to her. You know what I mean? And a lot of men will take advantage of that, and that's their game. And it's always difficult to determine whether someone's being sincere or if this is them just showing the best version of themselves and just running game. But man,
it'll come out eventually, because if you're just doing it as a part of your game from, as a man, then you can't be, most men, if it's just a part of their game, they can't be consistent with that shit. It's gonna fall off at some point. So if that's not who you are, it's gonna eventually show, and the woman's gonna eventually know that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if that's who you are, then that's gonna be consistent throughout, I think, your relationship. And that's what I need for me to feel like it's a healthy relationship. Like, I like doing nice things and showing affection to my guy. I like doing that. So I need that reciprocated. And it's not that I'm giving to get, but I think it needs to be an equal balance, from both the man and the woman, in order for me to have.
But you are, though. I hate this thing where they say relationships aren't quid pro quo, to where you shouldn't expect anything based on what you give. But isn't that what you sign up for?
Absolutely. You should expect some shit. You should have expectations from your partner. Like, if you don't, like, what are you in it for? Just to say you got a man, or to say you have a woman? Like,
or not even that. How healthy is it to be in a situation where you give your everything only to get someone's minimal? You know what I mean? Like, so to me,
what y'all talking about though? That shit happens in the vast majority of relationships.
It does.
It does.
Somebody's giving a whole bunch and somebody else giving very little. That's the fucking standard. That 50-50 shit is not the standard.
It isn't.
That's normal. That's the ideal.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. It isn't, but it should be. For me, that's what I'm gonna need in my man. I'm gonna need you to do some 50-50 shit. And I'm open and honest about that. Listen, I need you to do these things for me. If you ask me as a man what makes me happy, I'm gonna tell you I need those things. And if you're not living up to that, then I already told you what the fuck made me happy. Yeah. And so you're not living up to your end of the bargain, so get the fuck on. Like, it's just...
That reminded me of something that I was talking to a friend about. People talk about the 80-20 rule. And if you're getting 80%, nigga, then be happy with the 20 you're not getting. But what if something that's really important to me is in that 20? Right. I give a fuck about the 80, nigga. I need that 5 to 7 that's in the 20. So, realistically, that's just how I feel. If it's important to you, you got to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think Jezzy and I have had this conversation many times. I think as we've matured, I think we've done things, and Gent as well. I think this nigga's always been mature ever since I've known him. But as we've matured, I think you realize your worth, you realize what you bring to the relationship, and there's some things that fundamentally you're not willing to compromise on. And I think as you get older, to Jezzy's point, you realize some of those things that I am unwilling to compromise on may be in that 20% or even 10% that person doesn't have. And so perhaps you find another person, and that person, it isn't that they're going to come with a skill set or a personality that doesn't have its own baggage or set of problems, but those problems don't have to do with the shit that's essential to your happiness.
To you, yeah.
Right? And so you can work with those things.
Yeah.
I think that's simply what happens. But.
And I want to say you're not wrong to feel that way. Man, woman, whoever you are hearing this, you're not wrong to feel like, shit, I need this. And just because you're getting a lot of other shit doesn't mean you should take the shit you don't want, or that you should go without the things that you need,
Word.
So, Gent, I want to talk to you next about reasons men may not be affectionate, because, hey, it's Brunch with the Boys. You're trying to give these ladies insight. The first thing that came to my mind was, we talk about women getting comfortable. Men get comfortable too. So because we get comfortable, we stop doing the things that we did before to show that love, to show that we care. Would you agree with that, Gent? Because you the type of nigga that's affectionate from days. 22 seconds. I just met her. Hey, geez, I met her. I'm about to send her flowers tomorrow. Damn, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You got a work address that fast.
That's real.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real. You're not exaggerating.
That hurts a little bit.
I like it.
No, but I do believe in affection, and I do believe that men that don't show affection, I think there's timing on it, right? So where you're saying that, man, I may show affection very, very quickly in the relationship versus someone who may take some time to build to that point where they have to earn that shit. There's some people that feel like they need to earn that shit, right? And then there's people that feel like I'm going to give you that shit on the strength of that I feel like I'm going to get that level of reciprocation. And then, but I'm setting expectations though. And if I feel like you can't reciprocate, it's almost a test for me. Then that means like you're not the one for me. Like,
they say you shouldn't be testing the people that you're trying to be with.
Nigga,
you all
I
believe that?
Anybody.
Yeah.
I test everybody.
Aren't we all taking mini quizzes every fucking second?
Test motherfuckers all.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
We know you do. We know.
Yeah,
I
think we all do. You know what I mean? So in other words, if your man is not being as affectionate, he may be getting comfortable, ladies. Give that nigga a little nudge, talk to him, and see what's what. The next thing that came to me.
Can I talk on that? Can I talk
Go
on
ahead.
that?
Go ahead before we go on. Yeah.
I was going to say, we've had this conversation, so I don't want to derail this, but I think we got to talk about the proliferation of viable female candidates, women in the pool versus viable men, right? And I think when you remove the amount of men that aren't eligible for some reason, it really strengthens the position of a man. So, you know, the bottom line is this. Let's say you have a man who's married with 2 kids, right? Isn't going well in the marriage. Here's the thing. That man can find a relationship with a person who is going to accept him, love him, get him things he's not getting.
Help take care of his other kids.
Be there for him, right. Very, very quickly. That female, that woman, she'll get fucked. Nigga, fuck her tomorrow.
Yes.
Somebody will fuck her, but are they going to wife her ass up? Whole different
thank you.
Agreed.
No, thank
I
you.
agree with
so
that.
it's already an unfair position from the jump.
We are going to get every woman to agree to this, Des, on our podcast. We have been successful. We have not lost the battle yet, nigga. And I appreciate you for bringing that up. And she agreed so quickly, I ain't even got to ask her.
It was quick.
Absolutely.
I ain't even got to ask her.
You didn't even breathe on that
The dating
one.
pool is fucking horrible. And especially as you get older, right? Because, I mean, you're setting your ways. That man is setting his ways. You got kids. It's all these other outside factors. But there aren't a lot of men to choose from. Motherfuckers
But so
got
to that,
a whole lot of baggage.
point, that's the point Des is making. We may not have to do as much on that front.
It's okay for us to get a bit more comfortable. I think
Yeah.
what
Yes.
his point was. It's
not
a
okay.
disrespectful point, but it's a real point.
It is
It's not okay, but it's a real point.
Yeah,
It's valid.
real.
I agree with it.
That's real disrespectful. It hurt me to hear it the way he said. When he started saying, I was like, "Damn, he really gonna say it, huh?" He basically
And he
said,
tried to
"Take this
educate it up.
hoe. This is what I'm gonna give
Very
you. Take it."
articulate. Yeah, he was very articulate about it, but yeah, it was shady.
All right.
So, growing up in an unaffectionate family, I think a lot of us, you know, especially in our age bracket, grew up with, you know, more stoic fathers and stern mothers to where affection wasn't a normal thing. And if you're not seeing your parents kiss and tell you they love and tell each other they love one another, or even you, affection's not normal. So when you get with your girl, you love her, but it's not normal to say, "Hey, I love you," and be up on her because maybe it's not what you saw, you know?
I agree with that. I experienced that completely. Like, to be honest with you, I don't think I heard my mom or my dad tell me they loved me until I was like 22. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And he's exaggerating a few years,
No,
but it was a dog.
Baby, honestly, 21 at max, though, Tron. Like, for real. Like, Jezzy, for real. Like, so for me, it was very unnatural. We didn't grow up in a household where we were like, "All right, love you, mom," and it was "love you this" and "love you that." It wasn't that. It was harsh. It was almost semi-barbaric in a sense, right? But it made you strong. But in the same breath, you still don't understand the value of expressing yourself in that way, right?
Did it make you do what you saw? Did you
It
mirror
did
that?
initially.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I've had conversations with you in regards to kind of breaking that cycle. But to be honest with you, it was very tough to say that.
And you know why I
can
asked
feel
that?
the
Go ahead,
emotion.
Des. What about you on your end? Because
But I think, but so I think we have a response. So I don't necessarily disagree with anything Gent said, but I think that we have a responsibility to change and to grow, right? So I wasn't an overly affectionate household either, but I also know what the fuck I wish I would have had, right? and so I made it a point to, as I said to myself, when I get in relationships, I'm gonna make sure when I have kids, when I get in relationships, I'm gonna make sure to tell people that I love them because that's what the fuck I wish I had.
Yeah.
So So I don't know. I think things affect people differently, right? I think people experience things, they internalize it, and then they kind of, that's what they push out, and it's a part of them. And I think there's people who get those things internalized and say, that's what the fuck I don't want to do.
Yeah.
Like I grew up around dope dealers and all that shit. There was niggas that were like, oh, that shit is flashy. They got the Nissan
And
Z's.
it didn't entice you. Yeah.
The Nissan Z's and the dope boys had them. And I remember my friends be like, oh yeah. And I remember saying like, this nigga's gonna die early. Right?
Yeah.
Because that shit they're doing is dangerous. And my dad told me, if you get smart, you can make money for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make money for the rest of my life. That's just some short-lived shit. But my friends didn't see it that way. Same situations. You know what I'm saying? So I think people just interpret shit differently. You know?
I agree, and we're not gonna stay on this, but I took the route you did. You know, I never thought to push that out immediately. It was always easy for me to do the opposite because I know it never made sense to me to do anything different. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think you're right. It does come down to the person, and I hope listeners hear this to know you can make the choice, you know, opposite of the one you may have already made. You know?
Yeah, great for sure.
All right, so sometimes someone's just simply not affectionate. Would you agree? They just, every relationship they've been this way. You know what I'm saying? They just real fucking cool. They just play it like that. They not in their feelings like Gent. They ain't never gonna tell a hoe how they feel. No, like I like you too, and she done told him I love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So have you ever been in that situation, Nikita? Because that would be tough.
I have not been in that situation at all. Like I said, at this age, I don't think that I could just tolerate somebody who's ineffectual. Like, I have two stories, like last year, where I stopped talking to men because they simply didn't kiss and said they didn't like eating pussy. So I was just like, okay, it's not the relationship for me. And yeah, I'm like, well, how are you fucking 45 years old talking about you don't kiss and you don't eat pussy? I don't understand.
It goes back to Dez's point.
Problem for you though, Nikita. So this nigga doing everything else, and he tell you he don't eat the kitty cat. That's a
deal breaker. But that's in that 5%. Go ahead, Nikita. My bad.
Absolutely, but you want your dick sucked?
I sure do. Thank you very much.
If he had said, I don't want my dick sucked, and I don't eat pussy, maybe I could understand it. But the nigga still wanted his dick sucked. So yeah, absolutely.
But,
no,
and you know why I say life is funny? And again, don't get caught up in who's right and who's wrong. It's who fits. Because I know women that don't like their pussy eat and love sucking dick.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I never ever run across one.
Oh my goodness. So for the right man, that's a blessing from God. Cause yeah, he may enjoy eating pussy, but he don't want to eat it as a breakfast, lunch, and meal and dinner type situation. So he doesn't have any pressure to eat the pussy like that, and he can get the head, you know, the way he really deserves it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's funny how you say that, and I'm not fighting you because if you want head, go for it. We were podcasting with Posh, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Posh Possession. She said she got to have an ass eating. I ain't mad at you. I'm just not eating ass. You know what I'm saying?
I like that too.
We could never beat. She like that too.
Not a deal breaker.
Yeah.
I like my ass.
Probiotics in there.
And I'm sorry to take the conversation there.
Probiotics. This nigga said probiotics. Oh,
probiotics in there.
Good gut health. Good gut health.
It's good for your gut health. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm into my love language is physical touch. Like I'm into.
It's your number one. Yeah, and we're gonna get onto those a little bit too.
Read that book. Everybody's read that book other than me, huh?
I have not read the entire book, but I read physical touch, and I knew that was me, and I said, I think I read enough. You know what I mean? But I think I get me right now.
Yeah, so I need you to be all into me, be all into every part of me. And if you're not kissing, if you're not eating pussy, optional, you know, eating my ass is optional. Every man doesn't like that.
Oh, she really wants that ass eat.
But
I can see it.
I know, you saw her eyes roll to the back of her head. Don't get my ass. She was like, I don't. She was like,
she sounded disappointed at even saying. She's like, bitch, why are you saying this? You know you want your ass eat. Like, your mouth wanting to tell the truth. But I get it.
So when I find that in a partner, it's like, okay.
Yeah. It's a treasure. Trust me, it's a treasure.
It's a treasure, and hopefully all the other things that I need in the relationship will come along with that, because sex is just not enough, right? Even, a big dick, you can eat my pussy, great, but it's still not enough if it's lacking the other things, the emotion, and the affection, the acts of service, like I talked about. If it's lacking that, then it doesn't matter still.
And I don't want to stay there long, but I do want to say this, since we're speaking on physical touch as the love language. Physical touch doesn't necessarily mean sex, which it's often interpreted as. It really means physical touch in any way.
Massage.
Yeah, a massage. Sometimes, nigga, it's just her putting her hand on your back while you're driving. You know what I mean? It's her coming up from behind you and putting her hand on your lower back. Nigga, that should have had you right. And you dicking it down later on. She don't even know why she getting it so good. You know what I'm saying? Physical touch. So it's not necessarily the sexual touch as much as it is the intimate touch. But okay, so moving on. Another reason men may not be affectionate is because he has unresolved issues with the relationship that he's just not communicating. You know what I mean? So maybe he's, man, nigga, I'm not getting what I need. You acting like you ain't feeling me. Well, maybe I'm not. You know what I mean? And you're just not saying it.
I got a story on that. So, I got a real good friend of mine when we were talking about this. So he's been going through some things with his significant other, and they've been having some problems, right? I think they're really probably headed towards divorce. But he's told me, he's like, he called me one day. He was like, bro, I think I got ED. I was like, ED? I'm like, you going for your doctorate? Look, I don't know. What? I said, nah, bro. I said, first of all, I'm the first person you call about this. I said, what's going on? Like, why you think so? So he was like, for the last month and some change, he cannot get his dick hard for a significant other. Like, he can't get it up. He can't get it up. But he told me, he's like, bro, when I be at work, some coworker of mine, he said, my dick be hard all day. So I said, no, you don't have ED. I said, that's a mental issue you have.
Yeah.
And so my point of saying that is there are a lot of things. There are times when men don't want to be, and I think that's to your point, Jezzy. I think a lot of us have been there. There's times when men don't do a good job of communicating things. I talked about this in a previous podcast, but vulnerability is a big thing. If that man, for any reason, doesn't feel that he's able to be vulnerable with you, you're not going to get all of him.
Yeah.
Doesn't care how much he loves you. There are men who love women that they're not vulnerable with. You know what I mean? And so she'll only ever know 75% of him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that works for a lot of people.
And to speak to your homie's problem, that comes with, physical consequences. And that's why he's not able to get hard for her, because he's not feeling her. And that goes to show to women, I hope, it's not all just physical for men. We have that emotional aspect as well. And, we got a pole, not a hole. If our head ain't right, that dick ain't right. You know what I mean?
So wait, so let me go back. So what makes a man be vulnerable with a woman? So what are so why wouldn't he want to be vulnerable?
To be honest with you, I can speak on this. You got to feel safe, which means a number of things. Meaning that when we talk, you listen. Like, actually listen. Not that bullshit that most women do where, they're more concerned about what they have to say.
Mm-hmm.
And
most.
so
Some,
I'm sorry. That they're more concerned about what they have to say because it's most important to them, versus when it's time for you to talk, that they discount it, right? Mm-hmm. And so when a man really takes some time to open up and have some conversation, or if he comes to you, women, you have to understand that shit ain't easy for men because we're taught everything else other than that, right? So when we do, don't shut it down, don't discount it because it has an adverse effect. So being able to communicate effectively, being able to feel safe with that, meaning no judgment zone. It can't be no flex zone on that junk. You know what I'm saying? So also when you're being able to be like that and being able to understand that you care about what he has to say. And it's different than just listening.
No, I agree.
You have an emotional reaction.
Like you treat it like it's your own. And
I
think that's
like
what it
the
is
most
too.
important priority in the fucking world.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's God and then it's him and then God in regards to that, right? Mm-hmm. So when you put those things together, a man feels super safe.
I think the best thing,
I'm gonna bare my soul to you, and we good, we Gucci.
I think the best thing to speak to that, it really says, if a man is ever shut down, then he's probably not gonna open up again consistently. And it's we talked about testing. It's something he's gonna try. And if consistently, more times than none, especially when it matters the most, you're not receptive, he's going to stop coming to you, and that's when he loses that ability to be vulnerable with you. So I think it starts off, if he's fucking with you, he has to feel comfortable being there, but something happens in the course of the relationship, you know, because if at the beginning he was never vulnerable, I'm sure you would have never got with him. I guess that's my point too, you know?
Yeah, I think real quick, I think it also too, I think, so, and I don't think anybody has implied this during the conversation, but I think it's not even about a sexual thing, right? Because I can have the same, I told you guys I've been married for a while, right? I have the same level of vulnerability, and maybe it's a little bit more because of the things we've been through in the family that we have, but I have friends, female friends, male friends, that I have such a deep level of vulnerability with that I can have a very close to similar conversation with them that I can have with my significant other, right? And so I think it's important to understand that it's not just, to me, I don't know. I don't even think it's always something you're able to define, right? Have you ever met a person that in the first hour or two of knowing them, you felt extremely comfortable?
Yeah.
But there's people that you've known for years and you've never felt comfortable. And it's not that either one of them had done anything to make you feel either way about them. It's just a connection. So I know it doesn't sound very popular to say that, but I think that's a part of it too. You know what I mean?
I agree. This one here, and you know, we might as well end it that way. He's probably fucking someone else. If he's not being affectionate with you, ladies, you know, the Nick got a happy home. His mom and daddy been together 40 years and shit. You know what I mean? He always a lovey-dovey guy, not comfortable, whatever. He probably got pussy on the side. So
what you think, Nikita? You ever had that or found somebody out, you know, been in a situation like that?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, I can feel like it goes back to that women's intuition. Most women feel and can really get a sense of when their man is stepping out. And I agree with you. It goes back to the affection. If he's not showing you affection, he's not communicating with you, like he's shut down with you. Maybe not fucking someone else in the beginning, but if that shit continues maybe for a month or two, going into 3 months, then he probably is stepping out, unfortunately.
He's probably not fucking you as often. Probably not trying to.
As often. He's getting it from somewhere. Men like sex, right? People like sex. I'm not just gonna say men like sex, but we're human beings. I mean, so if he's not getting it at home, very rarely have I heard of a situation or been in a situation where if that man is not being affectionate with me, then he's just shut down and he's not having sex and he's not talking to anybody else. It could not even be sex though. Maybe he's just being emotional with a coworker at work, his work wife, or you know what I mean? He's talking with another woman who's actually getting the things that you want from him from someone else. Maybe it hasn't moved on to sex yet, but either way, it's a threat to the relationship, you know?
Well said. Well said.
Tighten up, host.
I think there's another part, man, that I don't think we're discussing, Matt, that sometimes you may not be feeling physically well, psychologically well, emotionally well, and that may have a true impact to whether you even feel like being affectionate. You even feel like being intimate. I mean, for an example, like, you know, I've gone through, you know, some series of depression sometimes, and shit, even some of the medication that I was taking on at that time, man, had me not like feeling numb to the world, bro. Like, not really, like a bomb can go off right next to me and someone die, and I'd be like, dang, that was tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna have that same emotional reaction or that desire to feel anything. And it may be situated, you're not feeling well physically or psychologically. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you sit here and think about it, like you can have any series of health issues and your focus is right there. It's not necessarily on trying to be affectionate and intimate with you because I'm sitting here worried about how I'm going to live later on. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's other things to take into consideration when it comes to
But then that goes back to communication, right? You should be able to communicate that to your partner and they should be able to understand, okay, he's dealing with a lot emotionally. He has, you know, health issues, all these different type of things. If you're able to communicate that to your partner and hopefully they're understanding, then it shouldn't, you know, affect the relationship.
You know what I find? I find people who get into depressive states, they tend not to communicate well when they're in them.
Like fucking Kanye?
Yeah, you know what I mean? So I think while that seems logical and it's easy to say communicate, I think when people who, when they get in that depressive mindset, it's like it's impossible then to do what seems logical, and they're in their own head. So I think that has nothing to do with you, the person. There's nothing you can do about it at all. It's just an outcome, the lack of affection based on what's going on with them.
So in our last podcast, we were talking about emotionally unavailable, and Pat Lee from former Super Bowl champion of the Green Bay Packers, he was just like when he got hurt, that wasn't his focus. Like, he wasn't focused on anything that she was having to say right now. He was focused on trying to get back on the field and trying to make money for his family. And so therefore he didn't have any room for any any emotional space to be out here trying to be intimate and in that way or form, right? And I think that I've been in spaces like that where, your job may be eliminated, man, and you out here worried about how you gonna support your family and things of that nature. And I'm not worried about whether you're getting the emotional volume that you believe that you fucking need. Like, I'm out here trying to figure life out.
Yeah.
So I think back to that same point, there's a number of things.
Communicate it though, and that's the offset. So communicate it, and I think oftentimes too, if a man's not affectionate with you, he's just not that into you.
Yeah. And we have to accept that as well.
Yeah, to accept that. And that's tough for a woman to hear, like, hey, you cool, pussy, all right. I just ain't feeling you like that. You know what I'm saying?
Men won't come out and say that.
Yeah.
They won't come out and tell a woman.
Because he want to keep hitting it in case he want to hit it on a Friday night and he ain't got shit to do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And a lot of women, if he would be honest, a lot of women would accept being an option.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I accept that now where I am in my life. Maybe he's just not feeling me like that, and that's okay because everybody is not meant to be. Yeah, absolutely. If I feel like it, because listen, women, like I said, we're human beings. We want to have sex too. So he might not be feeling me like that, but if that's the only dick I got,
you feeling that dick? Yeah, you're gonna be feeling that dick.
Hell, I might go have sex with him, but I'm not going to emotionally attach to him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you will. You get that right dick in you will. No. You love that nigga on accident.
Nah. I mean, I think when I was younger, it was hard to emotionally, detach from people. But again, now I said I accept the fact that some people might just not just be feeling me like that.
Let me ask you, does it matter how he fucks you? Is it a situation to where if he's fucking you missionary, deep strokes, he's gazing into your eyes, stroking your face, like if he fucking you right in a more intimate way, does that make you feel more inclined to want more? Whereas a nigga who's hitting it from behind, pulling your hair like fuck you hoe, as soon as he nut, nigga, his jeans already up, nigga, and he at the door.
Yeah, it definitely matters how you fuck me. For sure. If you're, again, it goes back, if you're not affectionate for me, then I'm not going to want to have sex with you, regardless of how big your dick is, whatever. If I'm not getting what I need from this situation, then it doesn't work for me. Yeah. And I think we women have to take some of our power back and realize what works for us, not just what works for them. Yeah. Again, I can have sex with somebody who, okay, this might not be a relationship, and he's told me that, but again, this is the only dick I have on call. I like the way we have sex. I like the way we interact. So I'm going to continue to have sex with him until I find somebody else. Yeah. But that's just where I am.
The vibe is strictly sexual. What, fellas, I hope you heard it here first at Brunch with the Boys. If you ain't already know, tell her the truth, nigga. She'll still give you the pussy. You know what I'm saying? Tell her the truth. If you fuck her right, most likely. You know what I mean?
We've all been there.
You already know.
Still get the pussy, so.
Man. I guess we all know a few numbers maybe that always will work. I don't know. You know what I
mean? maybe not. Who knows? Right?
Yeah, I'm saying who knows. But
I don't. I only know one number.
Hey, listen, the only number that matters, right?
Right.
Did you hit him with the eyebrow 2 times?
Hey, listen. So, Nikita, let me ask you this: have you ever begged a man for his affection? Tried to guilt him into it.
Guilt him into it? I think I've begged, like, I would say when I was maybe like 35, 34, I think because at that age, I do think I hadn't had kids. I was still single. And it is true. Our biological clocks start ticking, right? And so at 34, 35, I was in a relationship with a retired NFL player who had CTE, who was also not able to give me that level of emotion, I think, because of the issue that he had. And it was real. Like, he went to see doctors and everything. He, had early onset dementia. Like, it was a lot of different factors. But I think because I wanted to be married so bad and I wanted a kid, and oh my God, I'm 34, I'm 35. I think I was like begging him to give me the love that I needed when he couldn't give that to me.
Yeah.
And, it really affected me. Like, it really fucked me up. But I think that was just where I was in my life. At 41, I don't feel that same way.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not giving me the things that I need, then it's
and
easy.
That's it. It's a wrap.
And to be fair, you had that kid. You know what I mean?
And I've had that kid.
Yeah.
So I really don't have time. Honestly, I have a fucking 40-year-old.
Can I ask a question? I want to ask this question because I'm ignorant and I ain't got no sense. It's motherfucking Saturday night and I want to ask crazy.
And we drinking, right?
Listen, when you get to that stage in life as a woman, biological clock ticking, you never had kids, can any nigga with his shit relatively together bust in the pussy raw? Keep it real. Saying he is far. I'm asking because you said you had the jet. Biological clock ticking, it's hard to find a good nigga here and there. I have to imagine some, concessions are being made for niggas in order to get ultimately what you want, that baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. Probably, that's what happened to me in my situation with my baby daddy. Shit. I mean, I perceived him to be a good guy. I saw a lot of red flags, and I ignored those shits. I was 36, 37 when I got pregnant, and I knew off top that I was going to be a single mom. And I think I did let my guard down because I had reached that point for sure. But I was in a place where, I was making good money. I knew that I could raise my child on my own. I didn't need a whole lot of help. Like, it was a decision that I made for myself. And I think a lot of women do get there. So maybe to your point, maybe
that's what's up.
I'm real in my money. So, I'm going to keep it real.
I don't know what happened with those boys, but we just going to keep going. I just feel like we should.
Okay.
They disappear. But, if you love someone who doesn't show affection, I think it's important to remember. That love doesn't always require physical touch. And we talked about earlier, what affection means for us. And so in our case, I guess that's hard to say, right? Because that's our love language. But if someone you love and someone that loves you, they may not always have to touch you in order to show affection from their perspective. Now, I know that's hard for us to deal with.
Yeah.
But do you see any truth there?
No, I can't get down with that. To me, that's a weird relationship.
Yeah.
I would categorize that as weird. I mean, to each his own, but for me, that would just not work. I need sex. I need someone to touch me. I want to know, how emotional and how deep we can get. Like, I need that.
Can you replace that with small gestures, kind gestures, making coffee or dinner? Or do those things compensate in any way to give you a feeling of affection?
I mean, for me, no, I've never been married. So I'm sure if you've been married, 30, 40 years, something like that, I'm pretty sure then that would compensate. Because if you've been married that long and, older people, you're 60, you're 70, I don't know. But I'm sure at some point that sex kind of falls off. And so then those things would replace that. But for me, I would say no, that wouldn't work for me.
I think the best thing to do to get your partner to be more affectionate is to explore your love language. Because I think what we're talking about here, and we're a lot alike because physical touch is my number one love language, it matters to me. And if you don't understand what your partner needs, then you're never going to be able to give it to them. You know?
Right. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So what's your second love language? I'm just curious.
Acts of service.
Yeah, I like that. I like words of affirmation.
You
know, like the simple ones, you know.
Like, for example, what?
Like, I appreciate you making dinner today. I appreciate what you did today for the family. You took us out, and like just the small thank yous and little, about.
So I don't so much. I give. What is it? Words of affirmation. Yeah. I give it, but I don't need to receive.
Yeah.
it. I've noticed that. I am letting my guy know I appreciate, I ran into my garage and he came and fixed that shit for me. I was like, oh my God, I appreciate you so much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, thank you. I give it a lot, but I don't really need it. I definitely need acts of service.
Yeah.
I need you to show me how you feel about me through small gestures.
Yeah.
Again, sending me.
And I appreciate those, but I could live without them, believe it or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's funny how everyone needs different things. Another way to get your partner to be more affectionate is to flirt with them. Oftentimes we stop flirting a little bit because we're together, and maybe you stop flirting a lot, really. But if you can keep that type of flirty vibe, it should lead to affection.
Yep.
If you still got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, do all the shit that got you there in the first place, man.
That's keep it consistent.
And that consistency is really the entire makeup of whether you're going to be affectionate at the level that your partner really needs. So I agree with that all the way.
Yeah, I think you got to take charge too, and show your partner what you want. Show him or her how you want to be touched. Tell him how you want to be talked to, and the things you like hearing. And it's on them. Once you give them the blueprint, the onus is on them to do something about it and implement those requests. If they don't, then hey, you know what it is. But I think you have to take charge initially and then leave it on them.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of men are afraid to understand that sometimes you got to teach someone how to love you, bro. And the same thing goes for a woman.
They want to listen.
Yeah, same thing goes for a woman. You got to teach them how to love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And not be afraid to have that conversation.
Yeah, I agree. Because I agree. Ladies, we should be able to communicate with our partners on what we want and not be afraid to share that shit. Either they're going to do it or they're not. And if they're not, then you need to move on to someone who is. And again, the dating pool is small, but I would rather be by myself than to be in an unhappy relationship.
That's real.
So
now there's a lot of ladies that say that, but
and I actually mean that shit.
Like they really don't mean that thing because alone sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
When we wrap this up, I have an adult question. It doesn't need to be with this podcast.
Okay, yeah. As a man, I agree with that too, though. And I'll definitely rather be alone than to be in a situation where I'm unhappy. People always say you won't last alone, but I like my odds.
Yeah. Again, I think if that shit is reserved for your 20s and your 30s to work with people and date somebody's potential.
I like the way you put it. Fuck that. No promises, bitch. I ain't see it. It ain't real.
Right.
All right. So lastly, just remember to be affectionate and to give affection. I think we're talking about what the other person is doing. Check yourself, look in the mirror, make sure you're handling your business. You're flirting and you're keeping it tight, you know what I mean? And you saying and doing the things you want done so maybe you can lead the way, Yeah,
so. One thing I remember, man, back in the day, man, like when we started checking ourselves, I don't know if you remember back in the day.
Come on now, you already know I remember, nigga.
Where we were like, man, maybe we're not giving the level of affection that we really need in our relationship. And Jezzy and I would connect, dog, and say, okay, what's the initiative, dog? We planned something every Friday, dog, that we were going to do with our lady and make sure that we were ushering in and fostering all of that and keeping it fresh and creating the vibe and all that stuff because maybe we weren't doing it. So whether it was like creating a blanket, putting a blanket in the living room and having some conversation cards over candlelight and really getting to relearn someone or and make dinner right there, or just like random different things where you have to realize that maybe you got to invest sometimes, even though you're not getting anything in return. Sometimes you got to invest to see if you're going to be able to reap any of those gains, right?
So you just got to plant that seed and hoping
you got to plant the seed and watch it grow. But sometimes that doesn't even work. Sometimes you can plant that seed, you can water that shit, and it's a motherfucking dud.
This we know.
Let me ask you a question though. I don't necessarily think I think that things should be natural. Like, so my question is this: if you're with the right person, should you have to do that? And what I mean is, and I'll say this proudly, like, I'm with the right person, right? That doesn't mean that things aren't without trials and tribulations, but I'm with the right person. I don't ever feel like I've had to make a concerted effort. Maybe a couple things early in the relationship, but I mean in general, like now, for it to work. So that either means so maybe we're just all both naturally doing something right, but I've never had to be like, we just gotta vibe. Mm-hmm. So like I don't have to be like, okay, I gotta do this.
You ride the same wave. Yeah. Unfortunately, what you're referencing isn't entirely real for everyone, and that's the way it should be. That's what ultimately we're all searching for. But I agree, when you're in the right situation, you're never thinking about it. And again, Gent, to speak to what we were doing, it was what we wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
No one was making us. So it felt right and it felt good. But when you start losing and you're not being watered and nourished in the way you need, that's where that goes out the window. So you're giving what you're getting, one way or another. You know what I mean? So remember that, people, you want affection, give affection. And if the person isn't giving you affection, decipher what that reason is. And if you don't like it, nigga, do something about it. Go somewhere else.
That's what it is.
Unless you're a middle-aged woman. I don't, say a prayer.
What the fuck that had to do with anything, but
I'm throwing some shade. I want them to be mad. Listeners, feel free to shout me out, cuss me out. I love that shit. I actually live for it. But no, definitely, if you want it, you got to give it. Affection, baby. We in it.
Listen, so we launched our website. I'm really excited about that. I want all the listeners.
Get a round of applause. Don't slip past that, nigga.
We in
put some respect on it.
One time.
We did.
www.brunchwiththeboys.com is live.
Yeah.
So you can listen to any podcast that we've done. We got the catalog in there. We got the directory to all of our podcasts.
Can I say something real quick though?
Yeah.
Hey, don't judge us off the first what, about 15? Don't judge us. Is that safe, fellas? Should we say we got better around about 25?
Yeah. Well, this whole thing has been a learning process. And
so then you want to see the maturation.
Yeah, any real podcaster knows, how you start ain't how you finish.
Absolutely.
That is true, though. Yeah, you might want to start around 16.
Definitely growing pains in the podcast.
You might want to start around 16 or so.
Yeah, but don't miss out on any of the Sex and Mimosas, because that series will be continuing real soon, and I need y'all to know you need to be up on everything. We keep it real.
I'm gonna definitely shout that out, but I want to talk about the website still. At the end of the day, you can chat to us at any point. We got a chat function in there, contact function. We got merch out there.
Merch on deck.
Hey, primarily for the women, and don't got our face on it, women. So at the end of the day,
your nigga won't be mad. Yeah, you'll be good. He'll be cool.
Specifically for the women.
Some beautiful stuff.
We got the men's merch. We're gonna rep our boys at the end of the day. Listen, and a little bio about us. So for sure, man, check www.brunchwiththeboys.com out.
Hear from you.
And yeah, we definitely want to hear from you. Hey, next week, huge pod, cannot miss. We got the Cocktails podcast coming on from ATL. If none of y'all ever checked out Cocktails, you're missing out. These girls are fire. And we're going to have the privilege of having them on Sex and Mimosa part, I think it's 6.
Because a Jezzy special is what I'm like to add on top of it, nigga. I've been jotting down some random shit on sex, nigga, and I told y'all to be doing it too. We're going to cover whatever come to mind. And you know how we do.
Jesus. So super excited about that.
Go check them out too.
Check them out, and prior to that, so you get their vibe if you ain't even fucking with them yet. But for us, man, check us out on all podcast platforms: Apple, Google, Spotify. We're on everything. Type Brunch with the Boys. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram at Brunch with Boys. We're on Twitter at Boys with a Z _brunch. Absolutely huge YouTube presence. We out here.
Let's thank Nikita again, please. We appreciate you, girl.
Tell me where you can find you, Nikita.
Nikita, give us a shout out.
Yeah, so check out the Unexpected Fuckery of 40 podcast on all podcasting platforms. Thank you. On IG, it's the Unexpected FCKERY. I took the U out because
bro.
And on Facebook. And so yeah, check me out. Every Thursday I drop. So check it out.
Appreciate you.
Privilege, baby.
Yeah.
Boys, y'all know what it is.
Now.